The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. 3 o'clock on a Wednesday. I'm Tim Donnelly. Graham Hill producing the show for us once again today. And it is NBA Draft Day. A day where dreams will come true. Nerves have to be through the roof. Every time I see the Duke basketball account is big on putting out clips where Jared McCain and Kyle Filipowski are near each other, giving each other a little bro hug. All I see is two very, very nervous young men. Where are they going to go? It's a bit, maybe, I guess the only thing I could kind of compare it to is when, like, med school tries to get your residency at a particular hospital. But it's a rare industry where you're just like, yeah, I don't know where I'm going to be living. They haven't told me yet. Could be anywhere. And I don't really have a say in it. So they have to. And this is where, like, honestly, with modern new, quote-unquote, new sports media, there's so much of athletes finally telling the true stories, like, years after they're established, right? Because you can't be honest when you're just trying to get a job, right? When you're just trying to make it, when you're just trying to have a team pick you, when you just want to be in the league, you have to say, oh, I'm excited to play anywhere. Then years later you hear Chris Paul saying, actually, I was working out with basketballs that had the Atlanta Hawks logo on them, and I really wanted to go to Atlanta, and I ended up being drafted by the Hornets or whoever it was at the time.
I'll go anywhere for a team that's willing to take the chance on me.
Yeah, that's all they say until they're established and they're like all-stars, and then all of a sudden it's like, I really didn't want to go to Minnesota.
Yeah, I really didn't want to go to the Hawks.
Or I really did want to go somewhere, and I didn't get to. Steph Curry, wanted to go to the Knicks. So where do you think Jared McCain of Duke, Kyle Filipowski of Duke, Harrison Ingram of UNC, the three guys from the Triangle that are pretty sure to hear their name over the next two days, first round tonight, second round tomorrow afternoon, where do you think they're hoping for, right? When they're in a room by themselves with their agent, where do you think they're hoping for? I have one spot for each. Jared McCain to the Sixers. And yes, if you listen to the show long enough, you know I grew up a Sixers fan. Not because I'm a Sixers fan. Jared McCain to the Sixers because they need shooters. And they have shots available. Right? They're a very interesting team this offseason because they have Joel Embiid, they have Tyrese Maxey, and they have a world of endless possibilities. They need guys that can step in and play right away, but they don't necessarily need anybody that's going to be a ball-dominant guard because that can be Tyrese Maxey. They don't need anybody that's going to expected to create many of their own shots because that's Maxey and Embiid. They need a guy that can get his shot off kickouts. If you watch Duke this year, Jared McCain can shoot the lights out. Filipowski, his teammate, I love him to the Knicks. The Knicks made a gigantic trade yesterday. Wild trade. They traded a fistful of picks, players, whole bunch of stuff for Mikal Bridges to unite 4 Villanova players from the late 2010s. Mikal Bridges joins 3 of his college teammates that he won a national championship with in college. But that means the Knicks probably can't afford Hartenstein, their big guy, and they're going to be looking for size in the draft. If they can get somehow, some way, a rookie like Filipowski, move around in the draft, trade if they have to, I think that makes a lot of sense. And secondarily, people in the Triangle will know this, MSG is like Duke North anyway.
That is true. I mean, that's where kind of Jared McCain, I'd say, jump-started his freshman season at Duke. He had like 31.
Kyle Filipowski's a Duke guy that like tripped people, remember? He's not the most beloved person everywhere in the country. You go to MSG, there's going to be a lot of Duke hoodies in the stands that you can feel a little bit at home, be a little bit more comfortable. Harrison Ingram, I think, is a unique player. I think he fits in everywhere. I don't think he needs to go somewhere that needs a particular player. Obviously, his versatility and everything would fit maybe better with some, but I don't think he has like the wish list. His wish list might be based on, like, I want to play for the Mavs because I'm from Texas, or I want to play for the Lakers because I went to Stanford. Or maybe he wants to play for Carolina because he really loves it around here, and his sister plays for Duke volleyball. Harrison Ingram, he is the amorphous blob. He is what you need him to be. He's the shape shifter. So he'll fit in from a basketball standpoint, and especially as a second-round pick, with how often second-round picks are traded, he could end up anywhere. So where he wants to go, where he's hoping for, I think it's more of a life decision than a basketball decision. Where do you want to live? Where do you want to spend your early 20s? Elsewhere? Then there are the by any means necessary draft prospects. Right? When you're going to be a first-round pick, you and your agent might say, like, here are my top 3. These are the ones I want to go to. When you're DJ Burns, DJ Horn, Armando Bacot, you just want to hear your name called. You just want that moment where you're watching the draft with your family and friends, and your name comes across the ticker. I read an article on ESPN.com about the uncertainty of this draft. And we've been talking about the uncertainty of the NBA draft for weeks, right, on how it just feels different this year. Starting with the first pick, nobody's 100% how this draft is going to go. But the article had an insider, a scout or a GM or something, saying that there's probably 50 players, 50 players, prospects, that think they have a really realistic chance of going in the last 15 picks of the draft, 1-5. That's 50 players. Imagine musical chairs, right? Normally musical chairs, you have like 9 chairs, 10 people, right? You might have 5 chairs, 6 people. Imagine 15 chairs, 50 people running around that bad boy. That's what the end of the draft is going to be. So these guys, the DJ Horn, the DJ Burns, the Armando Bacots, they're hoping, but there's not that many slots. Most of that level of player is going to be disappointed. So let's hear from DJ Horn, one of the 2 DJs that led the magical run for NC State, on what he's been trying to show teams during his workouts leading up to the draft.
Just, my flexibility. I know a lot of people think that I'm just a scorer, but I want to, showcase that I can do a lot of other things on the court that can help a team win.
At his size, better learn to be a primary ball handler. You're not going to be able to stick in the NBA for a long time without being a wildly elite shooter or being able to be a primary ball handler at his size.
Am I the only one that feels like DJ Horn needs to kind of lean into the fact that he is just that, a scorer? I mean, I know he says he wants to prove that he can be a good passer, a rebounder, but I mean, man, think about how many times you mentioned the magical run to the Final Four. A lot of those games that they won in the NCAA tournament was due to him just driving to the basket.
I think it's tough to be a late second or undrafted player and come in thinking you're a volume scorer. Because the NBA, I mean, think about it, right? There's 32 teams in the league? There's only 32 leading scorers, but there's 450 players in the NBA. He's not vying for one of those leading scorer positions. He's vying for, number 400 to 450, right? That's where he's trying to just make the league. Get in the league, and then you can start developing and growing your game. So if he were to go in and be like, listen, I'm a scorer, they're going to say, like, listen, we got those. We need somebody that can come off the bench and either, by the way, when I say scorer, that means like complete scorer. He can be an elite shooter, right? I mean, Peyton Pritchard for the Celtics, he subs in every time there's like 5 seconds left in a quarter because he's proven that he's a good half-court shooter. Like, you can work your niche, but you have to find your niche. He's not going to be leaned on like, hey, end of shot clock, create your shot, let me get it to you, when he's on a team full of NBA players. DJ Burns, his teammate, one of the more unique fits, he was asked how would he describe his style of game.
I'd say a post player who knows his role, doesn't try to do things out of his ability and affects winning.
Similar thing. You can tell they're coached by agents, right? I can score, but that's not all I can do. I can do the dirty work. I can do the things you expect out of the 11th guy on the bench.
And that they went through the same pre-draft interview process with the Abercrombie and Fitch store background music you're hearing.
He's slimming down. Maybe he's early 2000s Abercrombie.
Yeah, there you go.
Be shirtless standing in the mall. Maybe he's on his way.
Those are both provided by the Indiana Pacers, who Harrison Ingram, Horn, Burns all worked out for. The only caveat is that Burns actually worked out for the Charlotte Hornets as well.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There's always a chance with the Charlotte Hornets, who control the 6th overall pick in the first round.
The Charlotte Hornets.